Week 3, we are on to letter C of Playful Serifs. We did A and B last week, or the last 2 weeks, I should say. And now we are on to letter C. I still have my grid up from last week, so I might leave it so we can use it, but if you have it and you don't want it on anymore, you can click the wrench icon, canvas, and just toggle that back off. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it on so I can kind of use it for my judging my width of my strokes. So letter C this week, we have a basic letter C underneath here, but then we're adding this fun decorative Gothic serif, this Gothic detail here, and then a swashy tail. Now this one is pretty low contrast. It is not zero contrast. It does have some variation between thicks and thins, but it's a pretty low contrast variation. So this week we will use, I think I use this dark green right here, kind of tealish color, and I'm gonna start a new layer to draw on. So with the letter C, what I sometimes will do, especially with the shape of this one, is draw kind of we're gonna go bigger this week, kind of an oval shape. And if I hold my pencil down, it makes a nice oval for me. And so I'll do that there. And I'm just gonna put that on my line here so I can kind of judge my thins or my stroke width, and I want that to kind of come there. So I'm gonna think about that as I create this. So then, whoop, my pencil skipped. I'm gonna kind of make another arc shape inside. Hold my pencil down, and then if I wanna adjust where that's sitting, it's a little thicker up here and a little too thin down here, I can grab this selection tool, and on freehand, I can just circle it, tap my arrow, and kind of shift it into a better place. All right, and then I'm gonna take my eraser tool and get rid of that excess stroke width or strokes that we do not need, and then we can finish adding the details. So when I'm doing something like this, I like to use multiple layers so I can adjust things and come back to edit them more easily. So I'm gonna add a new layer while I draw my serif. And how I usually do this kind of serif is I draw a circle and I hold my finger down, and that gives us a perfect circle. And because I'm on a separate layer, it's easy for me to move around. So that's one major reason I use separate layers for things like this. And then I'm gonna kind of bring that curve in and create that arc shape. And then we've got this one coming out. So a lot of times I'll just draw you can either just eyeball it like that, or what I'll do is I'll draw a straight line here, and then I'll kind of draw an arc to each side like that. And then for this center detail here, I go just above center, draw a straight line, and then connect it like that on both sides. And then we just need to draw our swashy tail. So this is one of those where I tend to draw and erase a lot. So I'll start here. Maybe it'll come from that direction. Too big. And I had it come around a little more the first time, but again, as long as you have some kind of curvy tail here, it's gonna look fine in our finished piece. But I do think I have it a little too thick. So start over one more time. Okay, 2 more times, 3 more times. I think this shows you that when you see lettering work on Instagram from people you consider pros, not that I'm saying I'm a pro, but when you see people and you think, oh, they make it look so easy, you don't see the behinds of the work and behind the scenes of the work and how many times that person may have erased it. I'm still not super happy with how that came out, so I'll work on that a little more, but let's go ahead and color it in. Sometimes that gives us a better visual on where we need to make adjustment. So remember, we have a second layer here, so we need to tap that and merge down so that we can color it in. So I'll drag and drop my color. You can keep drag and dropping, or you can click continue filling and just tap things in. All right, and then I'll click my arrow tool again. And so now we have there's one spot that didn't get colored in, a solid letter, and it's a little easier to see where you need to make got dog hair on my page, make adjustments. If we need to color in a little more here, smooth out a line here. Whoop, way too big of an eraser. So just like with letter B, you'll just kind of keep going around making adjustments until you're happy with the final letter. I'm really not happy with my curve here. I like how my first curve came out better. So one thing I can do is use my selection tool again here and circle it, and I can kind of adjust it then. Now it's smaller, but it's kind of in a better position. So now I can erase part of it out and adjust it that way. So there's lots of different ways to approach things, but again, I kind of go with what I think looks best visually, and that still needs a little work, but you can keep working on that until you're happy with your curve. And then just like with the other weeks, we will tap copy on our layer, come over to our canvas, make sure we're on, oh, that's a layer above, get that on there. So add, paste, and see now our letter C is a lot bigger than last week because we started drawing it a lot bigger. So when you shrink it down, just make sure on your arrow tool you're on uniform. If you're on freeform, your letter can get all wonky. So on uniform, it keeps its shape, and then you can paste that right in. So after I finish this video, I'm gonna work on my tail a little more, make it a little more consistent in width, but I don't wanna bore you with that. Like I said last week, getting too overly detailed, but you can work on it as long as you like. And I will see you next week for letter D.